As we continue our series into the position of the church in the book of Ephesians, we've been in chapter 4 for a while, and we've been picking out certain words and certain phrases that we need to completely understand in order for us to understand this unity. Because everybody speaks of unity from their own point of view. Like, this is my version of unity, and this is my version of unity. And come to realize we are not able to uphold God's unity if we don't do it the way He wants us to do it. So in order for us to do that, we have to understand the importance of those phrases. So our aim this morning is to come to the understanding that in order for us to hold the unity of the Spirit, we must learn to love like Christ, so that we don't love like the world in lust and sin. Imagine that. You got to learn how to love like Christ in order to uphold Christ's unity. We have to learn. Last week we learned that it's important that we must learn how to tolerate others in love. We learned about the tolerance part. It's not always giving in to the person, but we tolerate them as much as God tolerates them. So if God says this is no, then we have to stand and says no also. So in order for us to understand this, we need to understand what love actually is. So what is love? This is where usually when you surround yourself with a bunch of people like I do, they usually start yelling out songs to you. When you ask them, what is love? What's love constitute? Like, I didn't ask you for that. Then they say, oh, love hurts. I was like, nope, sorry, that's not it either. But what actually is love? Because a lot of time we think we know what love is, but in actuality we don't. Right? We've been grown up. You've heard this before. Oh, first day I saw her, it was love at first sight. I knew it. And then be like, oh, it's the feeling that I get when I'm around that person. So when that person's not there, you don't have love for them? Love is the sacrificial action one takes because of the value they have placed on your life. Love is not a feeling. It's not an emotional output. And one thing we always hear, whew, man, I just ran out of love for that person. Yeah, that's not possible because love is eternal. You know what you run out of for that person? Lust. And we do. And we have mixed the few together. Because we believe that love is a feeling because our favorite movies have said it, our favorite songs have said it, you know. But in actuality, God is the one who created love. But we don't never go back to God when it comes to love, does it? Love is an action, a sacrificial action that one takes because of the value they've placed on your life. John 3:16. This is in verse 16 and 17. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whoever believed in him shall not perish but have eternal life. For God did not send the Son into the world to judge the world, but that the world might be saved through him. Love is not a feeling we get deep in our stomach that we just know. Love is not a feeling. Love is not an emotion. Love is not instinct. Love is not subjective. Love cannot ignore the rules and regulations of God. Let that sink in. If God says it is a sin, I cannot say I love you and allow you to be in the sin. God loves it, but he has to uphold the discipline, which is also love. Since God created and demonstrated love, this is the reason why he is the standard for love. Not the world or people or things in this corrupt, broken world tries to tell us. And he was saying it earlier today. He said this morning, a few seconds ago, a few minutes. He said, God, Jesus is able to save himself from the cross. He was able to escape those deaths. He was able to do all of those things within his power. But because he loved us, he willingly went to the cross. To die a death he did not deserve. Now do you see the sacrificial action? Why did he take that action? Because he valued your and mine life. That's love. And even though we're still being knucklehead and stubborn, he is still pleading on behalf of us to the Father. Imagine that. Now, I know many lawyers who would take a case knowing that the person is guilty, but they can't prove it. They don't know if he's guilty or not. Christ knows we are guilty, and yet it still says, that's my client. Yep, that one right there, the one committing the crime right now. The one you're looking at committing the sin right now, that is my client. He's your advocate to the Father. He's the one pleading on your behalf in the courtroom. Yeah, I know we got security evidence of him doing it. Yep, that's him right there. There he is, doing it again. Yep, that's the third time. Don't worry, he'll be back next week to do it again. Yep, that's him. Yep, right there. Yep, that's him. And he still says, Lord, forgive him. On the cross, they are torturing him. They have beaten him. They took his clothes. They pierced his side. Blood and water is leaking out. They're yelling at him, if you are the Son of God, you can save yourself. What does he say to them? Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing. That's love. Love is objective. This means that love is rational and abides by the rules and standards of God. This is the one that shakes everybody to their core. Love is rational. Love is reasoning. How do we know this? Because if somebody loves you, you will see it in their action every day. Now, if somebody don't love you, you'll also see it in their actions every day. So love is not objective. I mean, not subjective, not a feeling of emotions. Oh, I just love it here. Oh, no, it's not that. Love is an action verb. If you love, you do. In Jeremiah 17:9, it says, the heart is deceitful above all things and is extremely sick. Who can understand it fully and know its secret motives? Who can? God. And God is telling you your heart is desperately sick. And that from that desperately sick heart is where we make desperately sick decisions. Because it feels right. This means we don't have to let others tell us how we should love them. Because love is of God. And if we love God, we should love that which was created in his image. In 1 John chapter 3, verse 18 to 19, it says, little children, believers, dear ones, let us not love merely in theory, with words, or with tongue, giving lip service to compassions. I love that word. That's the same phrases Paul will use in 1 Corinthians chapter 13. When he says you can have all of these things, but if you don't have love, you are nothing. If you have love, you sound like a clinging cymbal and a gong. You can understand the mysteries of the world, but if you don't have love, you have nothing. That's what he's saying here. But in action and in truth, in practice and in sincerity, because practical acts of love are more than words. By this, we will know without any doubt that we are of the truth, and will assure our hearts and quiet our conscience before him. How can we be without doubt? By loving through actions. What kind of actions? Kind, respectful, gentle, humility. Humble actions. God said if we love him, we will keep his commandment. Set of rules or law for Christians living in an ungodly world. Love abides by the rules and precepts which God has placed in his commandments. Love hurts. See, one of those songs were right. Love does hurt. Telling people you love the truth is hard. But we must learn to do it with all gentleness and respect because we love them and we want them to come back. Also, not telling them will mean that we don't love them. Let that sink in. How can you love somebody and prepare them for hell? I love you so much, I'm going to allow you to be disrespectful, rude, and uncontrollable. That's not love at all. When we love someone, we do not what? We don't lie to them. It's just a little white lie. A little racist, isn't it? It's just a little lie. You don't hurt nobody. You know, when I was doing this, I usually have conversations with my people. And they always tell me, because I'm a little bit younger, they always tell me, hey, you know, you're a little younger. And they always try to ask me this question. What happened if your wife puts on a dress and walks in front of you and says, hey, how do I look in this dress? And my answer is I tell her the truth because she's going out with me, right? When I get dressed and I say, how does it look good? I don't want her to lie to me. Do you? No. I tell her the truth. And she knows the truth. But in Proverbs 6, verse 16 to 19, these 6 things the Lord hates. Indeed, 7 are repulsive to him. Right? It said a proud look, the attitude that makes one overestimate oneself and discount others. I'm better than you. A lying tongue, hands that shed innocent blood, heart that creates wicked plans, feet that run swiftly to evil, a false witness who breathes out lies, even half-truths, one who spread discord, rumors among the brothers. It's all lies, isn't it? If I love you, I do not lie to you. And here's the problem with lying to you, right? What happens when you find out I lie to you? No trust. No trust. Do you know how easy it is to break a trust? Like this. Do you know how hard it is to repair a trust? A lifetime. And the funny thing about it is, the people who are repairing the trust always want to tell you, you can trust me now. See, we do not cover their sins or wrongdoing. That would be lying to. But we also don't relish in their downfall. That's not love either. You just wait till God gets his hand on you. Why are you wishing wrath on other people? And sometimes we take pleasure in other people being hurt. Told you. That's not love either. Told you so. Told you so. I should listen. You just wait till God gets a hold of you. Why would you wish that on anybody else? And it's usually people that we love. Because they don't agree with us or they don't want to listen to us. We wish them straight to hell. Right? That's not love either. We hold them accountable with all love, gentleness, and respect. We hold them accountable and they hold us accountable. That's love. In Hebrews chapter 10, verse 23 and 25 says, let us seize and hold tightly the confession of our hope without wavering. For he who promised is reliable and trustworthy and faithful to his words. And let us consider thoughtfully. Stop, take a deep breath, and say to myself, self, how often do I think thoughtfully of others before reacting? Here, you're being told to think and to consider thoughtfully how we may encourage one another to love and do good deeds, not forsaking our meetings together as believers for worship and instruction. Look, you learn what worship is for again. Instruction. As is the habit of some, but encouraging one another with all the more faithfully as to see the day of Christ's return approaching. In Proverbs 27:17, one of my favorite verses, as iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens and influences another through discussion. Why do we do that? Love. It says, I sharpened you, you sharpened me. Love. Love don't cheat. If we love them, we don't cheat on them. Cheating is not just bodily. We don't cheat on them of what? Affections, of their time, of security, trust, protection, discipline. If you love me, you don't cheat me out of disciplining me. Hard, isn't it? It's the parent version of says, this is going to hurt you more than it's going to hurt me. And the kid looks at you with a puzzled look on your face, but I'm the one getting the whooping. We don't hurt them for our own selfish gain. I want you to take time this week and think about the Old Testament and the New Testament. Think of a time in which God hurt Israel for his own selfish gain. You wouldn't find it. There isn't one. Then I would encourage you to read the book of Hosea. Then you will learn about unrequited love. God loving us while we are prostituting ourselves out to the world. See, we're Gomer when you read that story. And Hosea is God. But when you read that story, we never think about us being Gomer, do we? We're looking for the point of that story. But why would a man marry a prostitute? Why would God make a man marry? And the horrible part of that is people read that story and they be like, well, God told a man to marry a prostitute. I guess I can marry anybody I want. No! You're not reading the story. In that story, you're Gomer. Repeat after me, I am Gomer. You're Gomer. You're the one who don't want nothing to do with God, but you want everything to do with the world. And he loves you so much that he has to stop what he's doing, come and save you from yourself, bring you back, and then you go back again. Then he has to go back to get you and bring you there. And he said, that don't make no sense. Welcome to the Israelites. Welcome to us in our present day. And we love to yell to people how much we love God. But then our behavior says, I don't even know God. See how confusing that is? Here is something we have to important. One important thing to remember. Love never runs out. No matter what other tells you, or what you feel deep down in your stomach, or what your favorite movie says about it, or your favorite song says about it, no one ever runs out of love. You know what they run out of? Lust. Love is eternal. There are 4 forms of love, biblically speaking. Right? There's 4 forms of love. And for some odd reason, we just smash it all together into one thing. But there's actually 4 forms of love. The first one is eros, originated from the mythological Greek god of love and sexual desire. It is where we get our English word erotic. The Bible takes the Greek word and applies it to the relationship between husband, man, and wife, woman. This is where the older generation usually say, well, back in my days, everyone was married before they had sex. That's a lie. I'm just here to tell you the truth. That is a lie. Even back in the Bible time, that was a lie. It's the reason why the rule was given. If everybody was getting married before sex, God would have never had to institute eros only in marriage. is the only place where it is permitted. Why? Because promiscuity or premarital sex was rampant in Bible time just as it is today. And so God created Eros to set his people apart from the world. What is Eros? Eros is a sensual, romantic love, only permitted in marriage. Who permits it? God. Why? Because he's the creator of love. And so Paul warns young believers in 1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 8 to 9. He says, but I say to the unmarried and to the widows, that as a practical matter, it is good if they remain single and entirely devoted to the Lord, as I am. But if they do not have sufficient self-control, they should what? Marry. For it is better to marry than to burn with passion. The second form of love is known as storge. It's like Target. We try to be fancy, say Target. Storge. This Greek word describes the love family have for one another. This kind of love mostly happens naturally. A parent can't help but love their child, and the child bonds to their parent happens without effort. This is a special and unique kind of family love. Storge speaks of the bond and love between father and son, mother and daughter, father and daughter, mother and son, sister and brother, brother and brother, sister and sister. Right? In Romans 12, verse 9 through 13 says, love is to be sincere and active, the real thing, without guile and hypocrisy. Hate what is evil, detest all ungodliness, do not tolerate wickedness. Hold on tightly to what is good. Be devoted to one another with authentic brotherly affection as member of one family. Give preference to one another in honor. Never lagging behind in diligence, aglow in the spirit, enthusiastically serving the Lord, constantly rejoicing in hope because our confidence in Christ, steadfast and patient in distress, devoted to prayer, continually seeking wisdom, guidance, and strength, contributing to the needs of God's people, pursuing the practice of hospitality. Love must be sincere and active. Number 3 is philia. Speaking of friendship kind of love, you might recognize this form from the city of brotherly love where it gets its name, Philadelphia. Philia is the kind of love found in friendship. This Greek word describes the powerful bond among friends. Philia is the most general type of love found in the Bible and is used to show how Christians should interact with one another. In philia, it's philia that Jesus says that will be the marker that will show the world that we are his follower. In John chapter 13, verse 34 to 35, it says, I am giving you a new commandment, that you love one another, just as I loved you. So you too, to love one another. By this, everyone will know that you are my disciple if you love and unselfish concern for one another. The church, which is us, should be known for this kind of love that centers around care, respect, compassion, and a deep connection for each other. And then number 4 is agape. Agape is the perfect and unconditional, self-sacrificing love. Agape is the most well-known to the 4 types of love in the Bible, and is also the highest form of love. This is the divine kind of love that can only come from God, and the one which is expected from us, his creation. This is the immeasurable, incomprehensible, and sacrificing love for us. In 1 John chapter 3, verse 16, it says this. By this we know, and we have come to understand the depth and the essence of his precious love, that he willingly laid down his life for us because he loved us, and we ought to lay down our life for the believers. That's agape love. So what we learned this morning? We learned that love is God and God is love. We learned about the four forms of love and how they are important. We learned also that no one runs out of love because why? Love is eternal. So next time somebody said they ran out of love, tell them you never loved them before. We learned that love is not a feeling nor an emotion. We learned that we love that love that is sacrificial action that one takes because of the value they have placed on your life. From Hosea, we learned that love can be what? Unrequited. But we must not change our love because we are angry or because others are not treating us well. We must still continue to love just like God loved Israel. Just like Hosea, who represents God, loved Gomer, which is us. Even while we are prostituting ourselves out to the world, God still loves us. So what is love? In 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 1 through 8b. And it says this, what love is not. If I speak with the tongue of men and of angels, but do not have love for others growing out of God's love for me, then I've become what? A noisy gong or a clinging cymbal. You know what that sounds like? I love you, I love you, I love you. I'm kind of a seal. I love you, I do love you. What are you going to do for me? Nothing, but I love you. And if I have a gift of prophecy and speak new message from God to the people and understand all mysteries, all knowledge, and if I have all faith so that I can remove mountains but do not have love, what do I have? Nothing. And we see people, right? He's so smart. Yeah, he looks down on other people because of his smartness. This morning we said in order for one to be smart, he must be dumb. Why does he have to be dumb? So he can start from scratch and learn about the wisdom of God rather than the wisdom of the world. This is three. Three confuses a lot of people. So if I give all my possession to feed the poor, and if I surrender my body to be burned but do not have love, it does me no good at all. There's a lot of people out there thinking they're loving others when they give away all of their possession, but yet don't know God. You should have already been doing that. Remember, what I have is yours, what yours is mine. Mm-hmm. That's how it works. So, Earl, I'm going to come to your house and take a few things. This is mine too. Don't come to my house, though. What is love? Love endures with patience and sincerity. Love is kind and thoughtful. Love is not jealous or envious. Love does not brag, and it is not proud or arrogant. Yikes. You know one of the biggest marker of an immature person? Jealousy. And envy and strife. What are you jealous of? What he has don't even belong to him. Why are you jealous? Love is not rude. Hang on a second. Love is not rude. It is not self-seeking. It is not provoked, nor overly sensitive and easily angered. Well. It does not take into account wrong endured. A lot of us have a shopping list of wrong the other person has done to them. Remember in 1732, you were not even alive. I remember because I felt it in my soul. Remember last year, love keeps no record of wrong done to it. You know why you keep record? Because you want to get even. That's not love. Love keeps no record of wrong done to it. Imagine if God lists the things you did wrong to him. You'll be your whole lifetime, right? But love keeps no record of wrong done to it. It does not rejoice at injustice, but rejoices with the truth when right and truth prevail. Love bears all things regardless of what comes. Believes all things, not to the point where you become a fool, but with the right reasoning and information and facts put in front of it, love believes all things, looking for the best in each other. Love hopes all things, remaining steadfast during difficult times. And it endure all things without weakening. In your deepest, darkest moments, God still loves you. Even though everybody around you disappeared, God is still there because he loves you. Right? Love never fails, it never fades nor ends. Well, if it never fails and it never ends, then how can somebody say, well, I just ran out of love for them? You know the answer to that question? You never loved them. And in this world, there's a lot of people who don't love people. Right? Because nobody runs out of love. Love is eternal. When you say I do, you say I do for a lifetime. When you say I don't, you say I don't. But nobody runs out of love. Because love is eternal. Next week we'll talk about the bond of peace that is needed for upholding the unity of the Spirit. So now you see why it's important that we understand love in the unity of the Spirit. Because if I love you in the unity of the Spirit, it's not about me, but about you. I died to self so I can bring you back. I forget the wrong you have done to bring you back. And while I'm doing all these things, I'm doing it from a place of humility, kindness, gentleness, and my favorite word, patience. Patience. Right? That's how we uphold the unity that God created. Not the one we did. Because that one doesn't hold. So we got to hold God's unity in that way. So if you're here this morning, you've not been baptized, you wish to be added to the body, we will ask you to come on down and be added to the body through baptism. That's the only way. Right? The only way that one can be added to the body. There is no special prayer. That does not exist. Right? There isn't one. This idea of, I'm going to wait till, when I'm right. That's not possible. People always say that to me. I said, wait, I haven't seen you in church for a while. What are you doing? When I get my life together, I'm going to come. Good luck with that. This is a hospital for the sick, lost, and broken. Come in. Once you come in, we can work on each other together. That's how it works. Right? Without a doubt, there is no other way to get to heaven except through him. He said there's no way to the Father except through me. And then he says one must be born of both water and spirit. Full immersion, not a sprinkling. Full immersion underwater. You come back up, dying to the old you and being brought up in a new life. That's baptism, water baptism. A child cannot make that decision for themselves. Parents cannot make that decision for a child. An adult cannot make that decision for another adult. Baptism is you choosing God because of the belief that you have in him. That's it. It's nobody else. So we have to understand that. There's only one way to the Father, and that's through him. As we stand to sing our song of invitation,